Bonjour à tous. Je voudrais remercier les organisateurs. C'est un moment exceptionnel parce que nous avons en même temps la possibilité d'utiliser la technologie, mais en même temps, nous sommes dans une crise sanitaire qui c'est quelque chose qui a des impacts partout et surtout dans mon pays. Je vais parler en anglais et avec des mots en français, mais c'est plus facile pour moi. First of all, I think it's une réflexion générale. Oui, il faut demander ce qu'il appelle la signification de la paix pour nous aujourd'hui. Je pense que c'est that's the beginning of everything. What is peace for us? And especially what is peace for us that work with the environment, and what is peace for us, the judges and the legal community. And perhaps it's easier to say what peace is not, ce qu'il appelle what peace doesn't mean. First of all, I think we should say that peace doesn't mean passiveness, passivité. I think it's important that we understand that if we are really for peace, we have to speak up, we have to organize, we have to educate. And that's precisely what my dear friend and brother Antonio Poza was saying just a second ago, and Professor Bullion when he first spoke. Also, I think we could say that peace is not in utopia. Just look at Europe, what has happened, the developments in the past few decades since the end of the Second World War. And finally, I think we should say that peace is not just prosperity. It means prosperity. It's the foundation for prosperity, but it's fundamentally associated with justice. There can be no peace without justice, and there can be no justice without peace. And when I mean justice, I don't mean laws. And here, our Latin language and the Anglo-Saxon language, they have different terms for the same thing. L'état de droit in the rule of law. And I think in this case, the Latin term reflects what we are talking about more easily than the English expression. Because peace is not associated with the rule of laws in plural. It is associated with droit, with law. We might have many laws, but laws that do not protect the most vulnerable, laws that are just in favor of the elite, laws that forget millions, including the environment. And this is something that brings us to future generation, the topic or the theme that Professor Emily Gaillard has worked for so many years. And she is our, if we think about this, about the theme of Génération Future, immediately Professor Gaillard and Professor Poza come in front of us. Finally, I think it's important that we understand that peace is associated with an independent judiciary. Without good judges with integrity, but also with independence, the protection of future generation will be just words. Finally, moving to the World Commission on Environmental Law, we have been very proud to count among our members several that focus on peace and focus on future generations. And I would like to pay a tribute to Professor Nicholas Robinson, because he's really the pioneer, the one that brought us all together. We are the future generations from the 70s. And in the early 70s, late 60s, a law student called Professor Nicholas Robinson was already actively participating in events and talking about future generations. So in conclusion, I think we have to understand the connections here. Peace for us, but also for future generations. Peace and the rule of law, not laws. Peace, the rule of law and justice. And we could continue, but just to finish, peace, the rule of law, justice, and the environment. We need to understand that peace is a value among us human beings. We need to be in peace among us. But it's also, that's the other side of the coin, we need to make peace with the planet. And I believe that's the message that my brother Tonio Posa is always conveying. In order to really have full peace or integral peace, we need to make peace with the planet. And I think that's the role of this chair, one of the roles of this chaire d'excellence Normandie pour la paix. But it's also the goal of the World Commission on Environmental Law, of IUCN, and the International Council on Environmental Law. Those organizations are working together, and I am confident that we are not working in a dream, and we are not working in a utopia. We are the ones that have, through law, not against law, through justice, not through chaos, through peace, not through war, we have made it possible that the world today, in the middle of this pandemic, people are suffering, people are dying, but they know that they have a state, a social state, l'état social, behind it. And that's perhaps the lesson, Emily and Pascal and chez collègues, that I think we can take from this pandemic. At a moment when the welfare state has so many enemies, but they're the same. What comes to save us, in addition to the dedication of the millions of professionals and anonymous people, is the welfare state. We would be in a much more terrible situation if we didn't have it. And I think that's the final connection between peace, the chair of excellence, future generations, and law. Many thanks. And my apologies for not being able to stay for the whole day. I'll stay for a few more minutes. Thank you.